Good afternoon from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. It's the 18th of May 2024 and it's 1:43 p.m. So I've just come outside from cleaning Charlie's cage, which was an epic task, wasn't it, Charlie? Because I left it too long, actually. It was very, very dirty. And now you have a clean cage. You can be a happy girl now. Yes, happy girl again. And I've also done some washing. And what else did I do? I'm burning some, all the newspaper from her cage and bits of twigs and sticks from around the garden. So I've been quite productive this morning. And I'm a bit tired, but I'm happy. I'm happy with my life. I went dancing last night at the Brooklyn Standard with and for Alter Egos and met some very nice people that danced with me a bit. And it was so cute because there were three of them, or four of them together. And one of the gentlemen turned to me, after a while, after we'd been there a while, strutting our stuff and dancing, and he said to me, he says, we're friends with the band. He says, we've been supporting them for 5 or 6 years, and I looked at the lady in their group and the other gentleman, and I nodded, and they nodded all excitedly. I said, that's just wonderful. And they're looking at me, I said, I'm a friend of the band too. And they went, really? I went, yes. In fact, I've been dancing for them for 13, almost 14 years. And they went, oh. And I went, so I've got bragging rights. Anyway, it was just hilarious. And then that particular gentleman, we didn't swap names, which was weird, but anyway, it's all good. He was well impressed, and he says, I can one up you on that. He says, I had them play for my 40th birthday. So then I just smiled politely, backing away mentally into the wall, as I do when, you meet someone that's got to one up you all the time. But I wasn't trying to one up them when I said I've danced for 13, 14 years. It wasn't one-upmanship. I just joked about the bragging rights. But anyway, look, we had a nice time together. And earlier in the evening, in the night, I was feeling very tense for some reason. And then this sort of very friendly, affable, kind of bubbly, but kind of I don't know, he just reminded me of, I don't know what he reminded me of. He was a bit of a dope, actually. Turned out he was a New Zealander too, though. So he got talking, and it was actually very nice, to be honest. It wasn't being creepy. It was just he just reminded me of a Teletubby or one of those kind of lost boys that, gravitate to your power as a woman and your feminine mystique, but they're kind of a bit inept and inadequate. That's what he reminded me of. So anyway, I didn't say anything like that. It wouldn't be cruel. There's no need to be cruel to people. But he just, I'm back, and he was acting all eager. And then I said, yes. I said, well, I'm only here for one thing, darling. He said, what's that? I said, I dance to the band. As soon as the band gets going, I'll be dancing. Okay, I'll just go over here and I'll just let you do your thing. He got the hint that I wasn't interested in at all romantically. Not interested in any of them except for the unattainable ones. But anyway, you have to laugh. But I had a lovely time, I really did. And yes, that gentleman from New Zealand was quite sweet. And he said to me, I come from a poor family. It was really quite odd because one does not usually announce that one is poor. I mean, I do, because I have no shame. It's no shame in my game. I'm poor because I was divested of everything through psychopaths and narcissists, but one does not usually admit to coming from a poor family as an introduction to a woman you're trying to lure or seduce in on some level. I was like, wow. So anyway, it was a very strange conversation. It went like this. I come from a poor family. I went, oh yeah, really? Yeah, well, I hear you. I said, I've had the equivalent of 4 houses, divested out of me. So I'm poor too. So I don't judge. But then he looked at me and went, yes, but were you raised poor? I went, no, I was not raised poor. I got done over by the psychopaths in my family. And he was like, oh, I said, rich people can be the worst bastards on this earth, by the way. And he went, yeah, I hear you on that, sister. Anyway, he was kind of cute. He was so funny. He says, I was raised in Pororua across the road from the beach. I said, when he said Pororua, I laughed. Pororua is kind of a very poor socio-economic slum in New Zealand. Even to this day, it's kind of judged harshly. And so I laugh. It's the equivalent of like Woodridge, in Brisbane, or what do they call it now, Logan Central. It's never lost its stigma. Pororua used to be all housing commission cottages like mine. And there's no shame in your game. People end up poor through no fault of their own sometimes, and I don't judge. But it was just such an odd conversation coming from a man who was trying to befriend me on some level. Anyway, I threw my head back and laughed when he said he came from Pororua. I said, well, I came from Island Bay, Wellington, right across the road from the Cook Strait with the Antarctic streams. And I said, I too only had to cross the road and I was at the beach. And he was well impressed by that. So then he went on to tell me about his father had owned it was in a winery area, just over the other side of the Rimutakas. Matariki, I've never heard of it. I don't remember hearing of it. Anyway, he said my father hated living there. He said because all the yuppies sort of migrated up because it was all vineyards and they were all wanting to be posh and talk about wine all the time. So my father despised them all. And I said, well, that's the trouble when you get an influx of wealthy people into your area and there's all this snobbery and elitism. I said, I'd hate that too, to be honest. That's why people now hate Byron, but, Byron's still a beautiful, magical place. The ley lines remain the same, no matter what class of people have moved there and with their white privilege and their trash, So don't let yuppies and snobs and elitists put you off Byron, people. It's still gorgeous. Jared and I had the most wonderful day there just after my birthday. We went on the 14th. Attitude is everything. But anyway, I digress. So this New Zealand man that was very enamoured of me, his name was Clinton. He did indeed, disappear and, work the room, and then he came back a bit later and just had kept an eye out over me, which was sweet. But by that time I was talking nicely with the 3 people. There were 4 of them actually that were friends of the band and, sitting relaxing, and I'd finally relaxed into the vibe and I was dancing and enjoying myself, and yes, it was quite delightful. And I had a very nice time. I wore my high heels, which was stupid. When will I learn? When will I learn? When will I learn, my darlings? My shoes that cost me $4 in a second-hand shop that I'm wearing to death. London Rebel they were. Yes, well, they are rebellious. They cripple me, but that's only because I'm an old lady and my style of dancing is quite energetic and jumping around a bit, which I didn't really get into the jumping around till kind of the end of the night, really. It took me a while to get into it last night. I'm not sure why. I must have been stressing or anxious or something. But anyway, when I got there and I had the best time. And yes. So What else? No, Charlie, don't climb the curtains. I've just cleaned them all and ironed them all. Mama hates ironing. I haven't had that iron out in probably 2 years, but they had to be done because they looked crappy. They were crappy with your crap in them too. You little crap monster. Crap merchant. Give me a kiss. Oh, that was almost a kissy. Almost. She kind of went to bite me a bit. Oh, yeah, did it again. I can't trust you. I can't trust you with that savage little orange beak. Just be nice to Mama. Just be nice to Mama. When you're good to Mama, Mama's good to you. I know. It's funny how that works, isn't it? Crisscross. Symbiosis. Love is the law. Kindness and sweetness. Love is the fabric of the known universe. And all that jazz. Hello? Hello? You have a clean cage. I'm very excited about your clean cage because it was a disgrace. I was actually shocked. But the reason why I'd let it go so long was every time I wanted to clean it when I thought it was going to be a nice day like today, it would bloody start raining and I can't really clean it in the rain. I mean, you could, but it would be weird. So anyway, we had a perfect day today. Perfect for cleaning cages. And you kind of need a new one because your one's very rusty on the bottom. It's just about breaking apart. Mama has to buy you a new cage. New second-hand cage. Or a brand new one. Mama has to see what she can wrangle from the multiverse. She's always good at wrangling some arrangement. Oh, there we go. Poopy face. Right, so I've gone round in circles. I'm talking about the same thing, aren't I? Clean cage. Oh, it's an achievement. It is an achievement. Right, there's all these people going past on scooters looking into my window. Kind of looking dodgy as fuck, but anyway. Had a lovely chat to my friend Lynn this morning when I woke up because she asked me to let her know that I'm safe and she worries about me more than a mother hen, you know. But I know what it's like when you've got anxiety and you worry about, so I rang her to let her know about what a beautiful night I had and the sweetness and affection shown to me, which was very lovely and made my entire night. Made my entire night, Charlie. And she said she's never seen me so happy and she's happy for me to be happy, and even though it's kind of it's kind of a homeostasis. But you see, I've had so much horror in my life that it's unusual to have actual happiness and sweetness and kindness. So sometimes I freak out even about that. And she said to me, Tanya, time takes time. It's taken you this long to heal from multiple traumas. She said, just go with the flow and let time take its time and let things all settle into the rhythm of life, and who's meant to be yours it'll just happen organically. And she said, you don't need to stress. She said, just enjoy your dance as you've always done for 14 years. Yeah, it's nearly 14 years. And she said, just be happy. And she's right. She said, I'm happy that you're happy, Tanya. She said, it does my heart so much good. She said, I could throw a party for you. And I said, well, wait a minute, let's not get too carried away and preempt things, because I always worry about the shoe falling. Invariably, the shoe does fall. But no, I don't think it will this time. These people that are showing me such sweetness are long-time friends in the scene, and they've never wished me any harm or had any intent towards me, unlike those other monsters I was involved with 10 years ago. So I'm fairly certain that I'm safe and I am loved, and if necessary I'm protected, And so the dance and the music goes on, people. I'm determined for the dance and the music to go on, regardless of whoever's in or out of my life anyway. I've always been that way. No matter what shit was thrown at me by malfeasant fucking bastards, you know who they are, I kept dancing. And all did it used to grind their gears. They hoped to drive me away and, you know, bully me out of my one little bit of enjoyment in life. Am I right? In the end, the joke was on them. So I'm a very powerful woman, but I'm a very good woman. So they didn't factor that into the equation, did they? When they decided to try and destroy me. I have angels on my side. One angel specifically. And it's a bit confronting at times because even I forget about that. Yes, there was a moment last night when things were getting a bit out of hand in the club, and I was like, do I have to call upon my angel? But no, the security guard grabbed the offending personage, reefed him back, and I was like, good work needed to happen. And it was kind of interesting because that young man was with a group of people that had been kind of hounding me, trying to drive me away from where I was sitting at the table. And I thought, no, you don't just rock up halfway through the evening, start throwing your weight around, try and bully people out of where they're sitting. So I held my own, and anyway, the other gentleman that's a friend of the band said to me, he said, oh, you handled that well. And I went, I'm a stubborn motherfucker. Nobody intimidates me. And he just looked at me and went. Anyway, after that lunatic jumped up on the equipment and got reefed off by the security guard, that whole group of young people left. So that eliminated, some unpleasantness for the evening. It was the only unpleasantness of the whole night. So there you go. And I didn't have to do a thing. I didn't have to get upset. I didn't have to involve myself. Just kept doing my dance, being very sanguine, and watching it all settle perfectly, harmonic resonance magically into place. So it was lovely. I'm just going to move my cup of tea over here because Madam is mischievous today. What are you doing, Madam? All right, so I've burbled on enough about how wonderful life is at the moment, which, believe it or not, is unusual for me. Not used to that. And so I'll carry on with today's readings of Even Date. Bear in mind it may be a bit intense because today is the secular death date of my father-in-law, Herschel Aronchik, or also known as Harry Aarons. So here I write, yes, my former father-in-law's secular death date and my attempts at self-healing and thriving. And I shared a photo that says, she is both hellfire and holy water, and the flavour you taste depends on how you treat her. That quote is from somebody called Sneha Pal. Never heard of that name before. I don't even know if I pronounced it properly. But that was a very potent quote. I liked it a lot. 18th of May 2023. It's funny, I had an urge to contact my daughter today. Before, when I was out scrubbing my cage, I thought maybe it's time I had the thaw of the Cold War with my daughter and reconnected. And I thought, funny that I thought that on the anniversary of my father-in-law's death. So the ancestors want me to reconnect, but I am the mother, and she insulted me by calling me a liar about my health issues. So I'm not going to yield. I'm not going to cede, and I'm not going to quit because I'm a stubborn motherfucker. But anyway, also I know my daughter's okay. She can look after herself. She's 38 years old now, 38 and a half. She's not a baby. She's not completely inadequate. She's got a good job. She works hard. She's got herself somewhere to live now. She's got her shit together. So I don't have to worry about her, and I don't have to, reconnect out of a sense of like guilt or fear or shame. Just if she wants to see me, she'll come and see me because she loves her mother, and if she doesn't, I will survive, my darlings. And why am I always the one to put out the olive branch and invariably get my fingers burned at the end of the stick? Kind of done with that too. Oh, that's the other thing. My handsome friend Jared came to see me yesterday afternoon, and we went together to pick up my friend Lynn's present, which is a belated present, but I picked it up and I'm very happy about that. And so, I've had a good couple of days seeing my beautiful friends and being surrounded in lots of love and affection and sweetness. Sweetness, Charlie. She's pulling out ever more feathers. She's like totally grey now underneath. It's not good, Charlie. What are we going to do with you, Charlie? She says, I'm quite happy and healthy, Mama T. You're not. It's a sign that something's not quite right with you. But look, she's very active. So I must try not to worry so much. Anyway, where were we? 2023. I met Crystal at the Lifeline shop in Annerley, which is a shop we like to go to because they have like unusual, quirky, alternative style clothing. Pardon me. She loves her pendants. We had a lovely time shopping in Garden City too. And here she is. Those are the two pendants I gave her. The moonstone one I made, and the cast gumnut baby. I only made two little cast gumnut babies, so she's got one and I've got the other one, which I'm still thinking about whether I'm going to sell it or not. I may be going to the markets on the 9th of June at Kelvin Grove White Lady Funeral Home. So that'll be a bit bloody trippy because they actually did my mother's funeral, but I guess we're just having the markets in the space. There won't be an actual funeral going to take place, hopefully not. Anyway, it's funny how life brings you full circle though. So I'm thinking about, having a go at selling my jewellery there, and I don't know, I'm so bloody tired. I could have gone today to that market, but I cancelled a week ago after only just signing up for it because I was so tired and ill during the week. I really did not feel good, and I would not have been able to manage the markets today. I actually struggled to clean her cage, which had to be done, didn't it? Poopy face. Yes, it had to be done, Charlie. 18th of May. What are you looking at? Always up to mischief, you. Here she goes. I knew it. Oh, grotty bird. Right, where was I? 18th of May 2022. I have finally booked myself in for a skin check. I have several lesions which have not healed in the past 2 years. Eek. My psychiatrist debriefed with me this arvo and told me one of his employees is terminal from skin cancer. He was very distressed So he basically kind of pressured me to go and have the skin check done because he knows I wasn't going near any doctors all through the COVID epoch, and he was frightened that I would have a terminal diagnosis as well from leaving it too long. So off I went, and it was absolutely beyond awful because they had to cut such big fucking chunks out of my shoulders. But anyway, it is what it is. Here I write, so that put the boot up my tuchus. I needed to get my own skin issues checked and if necessary treated, which I really kind of didn't really want to do, but it's probably good that I did it when I did it, even though I felt tortured. I write, I'm triggered all over the place as the last skin doctor was so evil, but I need to get on top of the skin cancers or they too will kill me. And my friend Deborah Starr, who I've never met in person but is a Facebook friend, wrote, I guess we got to go one way or another, but perhaps not this soon. Go and get your skin checked. Being on my Facebook for years, people know how I can talk myself out of doing things just as easily as I can talk myself into doing them. And I'm very rebellious and very recalcitrant, and I drag my chain on things, and anything medical I have zero trust in after decades of trauma associated with systemic abuses as well. So I'm a difficult customer to pin down. So ergo, my psychiatrist really pressuring me about getting my skin checked because he knew I probably very likely wouldn't do it under my own steam. So here I replied to Deborah, Friday is the day. I'm worried about how bad they are, but I think I'm at least on the pathway to healing them by seeing an actual skin doctor. His receptionist informed me that he is a well-respected gentleman, so I feel a bit safer now. And he is indeed a gentleman, but he is a bit of a kind of I didn't have a lot of empathy, and I felt like I was in a supermarket production line. It's like in, out, splice, dice, get out kind of attitude. Anyway, I saw him recently for a check, and so a whole year's gone by because I have 6 monthly checks that I haven't had any new cancers needing cutting out. So yay me. I guess it's the vitamin D I take every day is probably helping my body, my immune system deal with any early cancers like that. I hope so. But anyway, Deborah wrote, that sounds good. And she said, I had a skin check a couple of years ago. He burned a small thing off my lip and arm. Not fun, but not disastrous either. Well, the little burns they do aren't too bad, but having big chunks of flesh cut out is very traumatizing for me, especially when I see it in the specimen jar. I get really triggered. Anyway, Deborah Starr, I wrote, mine usually need excisions and biopsies. The one on my right shoulder has been growing for some time. That one worries me the most, but there are many new ones in the same regions of scar tissue. So it's all fairly scary, and it was fucking awful, excuse my French, because even he said, I'm having to go into old scar tissue, Tanya. It's going to be extremely painful, and it was. Even with the anaesthetic, it just didn't quite hold me. The things you do to avoid dying, am I right? Well, everyone dies, but avoid dying of advanced skin cancer like my uncle in Germany, because that's an extremely bloody, painful way to go. If I'm going to continue to inhabit this body and this planet, I need to keep on top of my health issues, but lately it's felt like a losing battle. But I had sad news of 2 deaths today from cancer, so I realised I cannot play fast and loose with that threat anymore. It's just hard for me to find trustworthy doctors apart from my worthy psychiatrist, so wish me luck that everything goes well for me. on Friday, please. And she wrote back, good luck. I'm truly wishing you to be well and without any need to worry. Isn't that delightful? Just gorgeous. My friend Sally Castle wrote, glad you're getting the checks, Tanya. And I replied, thanks, Sally. Doctors are very triggering for me now, unfortunately, and I have avoided them in recent years, but this is too worrisome to put off any longer, and indeed it was. I won't show you the massive scars on my shoulders, but really unpleasant. But I don't have skin cancers anymore, so there is that. You know, at the moment, I don't have them till I brew up another one, I guess. I just heard some kind of scuffling in the back bedroom. Did you hear that? It's probably crows on the roof or something. Anyway, 18th of May, 2021. Today has been a full-throttled, hypomanic day. I feel quite unravelled, but I got a few jobs done, including finishing the washing. Also, today's work was soldering the jump rings on the chain and clasps. It was a nightmare. I had to resolder so many times. I actually melted a few links and had to replace them. I am starting to think I will never be a master jeweler or achieve anything. I'm very hard on myself. Very, very hard on myself. I hate failing. Well, everyone hates failing, but I've made a mastery of failure, so I really hate it more than the average person. But anyway, there is that, my darlings. I don't have that tongue anymore because I fell off at Kilcoy, so I had to make another shorter one. Remade that whole snake bracelet from scratch pretty much. It was intense. It was intense, Charlie. Do I get a kissy kissy? Did you save all your kisses for me, Charlie? She's not in the kissing mood. This is the finished box since the brass edging did not work out. That used to be my mother's Italian inlaid drinks trolley, and now it's a cutlery box. The top of a cutlery box. I can hear something scuffling around. I think it's just human people. I'm paranoid after having that massive big serpent in my house. I'm paranoid that he's back. What if he's back? If you hear me scream. No, the bricks are still in place. Must be some birds or something on the roof. Can't see anything here. Can't see anything. Oh well, everything's safe. There's no snakies running around the house. Thank God. All right. Let us continue, my darlings. Let us continue on. Right. I tried forming the brass edging, but it will be uneven as the lid is not quite square. Shame. I thought it would look impressive. Anyway, I changed that to bracelets. A few bangles, I mean. So, such a beautiful day outside. Be a lovely day to go, and I should take you for a walk, Charlie. Maybe when we finish the video. My friend Kellyanne wrote, I like it as it is. The brass edge would eventually corrode and start catching clothes on it anyway. Fabulous job. And I wrote, yes, that is true. But as an artist or upcycler, I wax Klimtian and like gold or glitter or shiny things as accents on my stuff. I had to laugh at myself, still wanting the box to have its original jewellery. Anyway, 18th of May 2020. This afternoon I had a chat with my childhood friend Margaret. She asked if I had made any progress with my book, and I told her I had been stymied with despair after being told by a publisher that my writing was good but too chaotic and disorganised and therefore unpublishable, which I think was absolute bullshit, quite frankly. But anyway, the woman had not bothered to read it properly, as she said I wrote about having an affair with a rabbi, which is utter nonsense. I wrote no such thing. I've never had affairs with any of my rabbis. In fact, they had been protectors and mentors and defenders many times. Nothing of a sexual nature at all. I was so offended, I blocked this woman immediately, then freaked out as I had sent her my many Facebook writings, so I feared she might publish them and leave real names in place without my permission. Even my psychiatrist felt I was naively trusting. So I lost confidence in my ability to succeed at writing or any other bloody venture that I might dabble in. So this evening I was tidying up my folders. In fact, I've decorated one with pretty wrapping paper scraps that Lynn had gifted me, and decided to transfer my typed up diaries and other writings into it. I stumbled across some embarrassing erotic descriptions of a long ago love affair. Torrid, passionate, but of course ended badly, as do all my unrequited love partnerships. Then I stumbled across a diary entry where I mentioned making a phone call to my uncle and how I feared even reaching out to him or anyone, even remotely in contact with my mother or Buck, as I had moved into hiding to escape them. Charlie, you can't chew cords. Give that to me. You're being naughty. I was surprised to learn that my uncle also had suffered sleep apnea and osteoarthritis. He warned me about alcoholism, which was also rife in our family. I said to my Uncle Bruce, it's kind of comical in a way that an almost 38-year-old has to hide from her family. He replied, well, it's not funny at all. It's awful. He was actually very kind to me, my Uncle Bruce, the few interactions I had with him. I replied, I know, but I have no regrets about my decision. I have to keep my daughters and myself safe from them. This conversation happened on the 26th of January 2003, just prior to me being provided with this government rental home on the 5th of May 2003. Wow. It took many, many years to finally feel safe. 10 years after Gisela's death, 3 years after David's death. Only very recently have I felt the release of the past and peace and the potential to finally succeed in my own tiny contributions after being in this house for 17 years. 21 years now. Time flies, doesn't it? Anyway, Margaret had said there are real gems tucked away in my writing, certain descriptors or ways of expressing myself. I replied, "It's all shit, meaningless shit, Margaret." I almost yelled at her. She replied, "There are so many resources in all of that written history that you could really help other women in similar situations," which is why I present my writings to you on YouTube now, people, even at great risk of looking like a bit of a fool or a victim or, whatever, because my experiential awareness may help one person out there in the internet world. And in Judaism we have a saying, tikkun olam. To save one life is the equivalent of saving an entire world. So if any one of you out there stumbles across my videos and hears me expressing my lived history and how I got through things or how I coped or whatever, and it assists you, then my entire life has not been a complete waste. And all that trauma has not just been a complete vacuum of lost soul and lost energy. If just one person resonates and gains comfort or courage from it, then it's worth it, people. She is right. I can shine by example. But just looking at my diaries opens wounds that seep from with a fresh despair and evisceration that is hard to explain. Complex PTSD plus has prevented me from getting any sort of real justice or from succeeding in any avenue. Except for my mad, boltering tribal dancing, where I unfurl my fury and passion and fake hopes of finding real, authentic love on a certain spot. That's referring to my infamous spot I had at the Live Wire Bar in the Treasury Casino until 5th of August last year. Out, damned spot, laughing my ass off. Bullies and bitches could not stop the Tanya from showing up and dancing in her glorious, triumphant survival. God knows they tried and almost succeeded. But the Tanya hit the ground running. From her own suicide attempt on 22nd of August 2015, well, that night, 21st to 22nd, and ramped up her style even more fiercely and danced until her gallbladder gave out, thanks in part to the HRT my doctor prescribed. And my liver almost imploded. I still get pain in the liver area and drain site almost a year after that fucked up surgery. And just when Mama T was back on her feet and finally ready to continue with her dance, she got sidelined and stymied by COVID-19 and the resultant lockdown. A virus claimed my freedom when nothing and no one else could. Oh, the irony. So here I have some old gems and some deplorable germs and some loving and dancing and laughing in the face of my enemies to still achieve. And 4 years later, 2024, certainly achieved that, haven't I, Charlie? Yes. Life goes on, I wrote. Here I posted an excerpt from my diary, written 1st of August 2003, which is not long after moving into this house, by the way. In the evening, the girls sat in their respective rooms, watching TV or listening to music. It was a very isolating experience. One night, mother and daughter baked muffins, chocolate cake, and white bread. It was time-consuming, but nevertheless satisfying. There was a strange kind of familial bonding between the three women. We finally enlisted Jasmine to beat the cream. It was interesting how creating food and being domesticated brought a feeling of closeness. But as soon as the labour of cooking was complete, off to their rooms they went to stare at a box and watch inane, moronic types expose themselves. Big Brother, uncut. My beautiful friend Deborah Starr wrote, Deborah's just recently published her own book, Escape to Woodshine. So she's a published author, unlike me, who's just a muser and a scribbler and a scrambler and a writer, but only publish my stuff on Focal Media in the form of this journal, by the way. And my friend Margaret is right. There are real gems tucked in amongst it. And when I read them out to you and rediscover them, it's delightful. It's delightful. It reminds me that I'm not a complete waste of space. Charlie doesn't think so anyway. COVID-19 isolationism. I have lived this dream a long, long time. 1st of August 2005. Okay, I couldn't quite see the date on that photograph I'd taken of that piece of writing. So I'd been there just over 2 years I'd been in this house. Then I published the cover page. I kind of have to laugh, really. One of my books, Women's Digress. I wrote, Oi. Ha ha. On top of all that, I found another gem. In 2012, 2 psychics in Paltalk told me I would not be in a relationship for 5 years. Another psychic I saw told me 7 years. Wow, it's a lot longer than that. We're talking 12 years later and I'm still not in a relationship. But I'm more eager to maintain my safety and my Zen zone and my equilibrium than throw myself into relationships that historically have always gone very, very bad and indeed life-threatening. So although I constantly harp on about how I want to have the one in my life and live happily ever after and at long last find out who loves me deeply and truly and loyally and faithfully and chooses me, I'm realistic. I don't completely live in fairy tale land, people. I am realistic that it may never happen. So it's why I take so much delight in the sweetness shown to me by my beautiful friends. Because platonic love, agape love, sweet romantic love that doesn't go into lurid sexuality that is empty and false and grief-inducing. It's joyous. People who actually see me and love me for me and not for my vagina, treat me with honour and integrity and deep abiding love and respect. I haven't had that before in my entire life, from male sexual partners. So I'm kind of like almost a bit, astonished to even receive these romantic overtures, because it doesn't normally happen in my world. It really doesn't. It's so very unusual. And then I have these little crises of thinking, well, is it real, and can I trust in it, and will it blossom into something, and is it just some game maybe, or am I losing my mind? I often wonder that. But there was a sweetness shown to me again last night, very heartfelt and sweet and innocent and playful, just reaching out and, patting me on the arm because they weren't in a position where they could give me my traditional hug and kiss on the cheek that I usually receive. So it was just heartfelt and sweet, and so I patted this person back on their arm to let them know that the feeling's mutual, and it was just delightful. And then I turned around, there was another man that had witnessed us sort of patting each other on the arm, and he's looking at me like this. So I just went, let them think what they want to think. There's nothing out of order going on. We just adore each other, and that is lovely. Such a lovely experience that as I said, I've never ever experienced before with a male, showing me that level of sweetness and kindness. So I'm just bubbling over like, I don't know, a marshmallow affogato. I'm just, and it's kind of silly in a way, but it's cute and adorable. And as my friend Lynn says, she says, time takes time and you never know how things will evolve. And she said, just be happy, Tanya. You deserve to be happy and not have everyone drag it down and sabotage and just be fucking awful like it's happened with every other potential relationship over the years. So I've decided my friend is right. I'm going to just keep doing my dance, and I'm going to keep being happy, because that too is a form of success that I have not really had much experience in 59 years. So just going to go with the flow and delight in the things that are delightful and keep myself safe and cherish and nurture true friendships. Keep those safe too, and just be happy. Just be happy. So here I am 8 years later, and no sign of any real relationship on the horizon. So it seems all the psychics were incorrect. No relationship yet. No, still not in any real terms. But, as I said, I'm okay with that. I'm waiting for the one, a man who can love me in all aspects of my being and build a wonderful life together, even though, I'm not young anymore, and it's kind of a strange anomaly that someone might be coming into my life now that I'm older and pretty much given up on love. But miracles happen every day, people. Here I write, I guess I won't curl up and die if my true beloved never shows up. I have been single for 25 years, try 29 years now. So it's not like I need a man. That was the other odd thing that Kiwi guy said to me last night. He said, I don't need anyone, looking at me meaningfully. And I'm like, are you trying to out-psych me or something? It was just odd. So I nodded. It's a good way to be, not actually needing anyone. But then that hyper-independence means sometimes you push away people that might actually want to have a wonderful life with you because you're so afraid of needing anyone and being reliant on them and dependent and even being ultimately abused. And it's not a fucking irrational fear when you come from my background. So here I write, all I ever needed was love, which is why I have cats, a bird and a dog. And now we're just down to the birdie num-num, Charlie. It's just you and me, kid, and the 2 goldfish in the front pond. Yes, I know. You're the last of the beloved ones. Come here to Mama. Come here to Mama. Hello. Come here to Mama. No, she doesn't want to. She knows her own mind. Body autonomy even for birdies. Here I write, my love life has always been a shambles, but I had a read over my diaries and I managed to even make my own hair curl. When I looked back on all the shenanigans, hilarious, but at times startling, I really did have a death wish. Jesus. And then my cousin Megan wrote, Dad, that would be my Uncle Frank. Dad suffered sleep apnea. Oh, I hate words I can't spell. Fucks me off, lol. And alcoholism like some of our cousins. And your writing is good, cousin. I hope you kept all the originals of your work, or the woman you gave writings to could use them as her own. Copyright, spelt wrongly because sometimes I write copyright, COPYWRITE, so she was winding me up. Copyright Tanya Aaron's lol. And then I wrote back, copyright the correct spelling. My one persistent spelling error, laughing my ass off. And Megan wrote, I wrote that wrong, lol. And I wrote back, all my life's work is on Facebook. It's like digging for diamonds up my schnozzle. How interesting that Frank had, and I wrote, has sleep apnea too. And then she replied, I love how you say Frank has. It makes it feel like he's alive, love heart. And then I wrote, a typo. Oops. But he is still alive in our memories and in his spirit. 18th of May 2019, and here's another one who's no longer alive, but forever beautiful and young, and there's beautiful photos. I'm glad I took so many photos of my dog. It's like he's never far away from me, even though he's in Valhalla or heaven or wherever good doggies go when they die. Here he is, giving me a very concerned look because he didn't actually like having his photo taken, even though I took lots of photos, but he kind of hated it. So I probably told him to smile. He's like, what do you want, Mama? He used to often give me that look. 18th of May 2018. Today is the secular anniversary of the death of my father-in-law, Harry Aarons, born Herschel Aronchik. Tzvi Hirsch Ben Aaron, I think was his Hebrew name, if I remember correctly. 34 years ago. Oh, I just got chills when I said that. Yes, 34 years ago. How long is it now? 40 years ago. Time marches on, doesn't it? In the space-time continuum, memory can be like a blip in time, as fresh as a daisy if you keep it and preserve it carefully, or it can dissipate like fog. This is why I preserve all my writings, people, because I saw what happened to people in the dementia ward when my mother languished there for 18 months, and it filled me with, it was like being in a fucking horror movie actually. It was that bad. I had to call in the independent visitor. There was so much abuse is going on in that home. So not only did the residents all have lost their mind, but they lost their safety and security and families and everything. It's appalling, and it fills me with such abject horror because I fear that being my fate too one day. Anyway, here I write, wow, my former wedding anniversary is in 2 days' time, because I got married on the 20th of May 1984 for Lagpa Omer, but Harry passed away 2 nights before, so it was full on, man. It was very full on. Hard to believe I was so very young, 19 years old and 1 month. Anyway, Shabbat Shalom to Harry, to us all. May we find rest and peace and freedom from our enemies. Amen. V'salah. And here's a photo of my father-in-law, the grandfather of both my daughters. And he was a beautiful young man, absolutely beautiful. And he had a mischievous glint in his eye. Even as a young man, you can see it. And I met him, of course, when he was elderly. He was 69. No shitting on the curtains, Charlie. Come here. And he had a delightful little glint in his eye. It was actually, his most endearing feature really was that look of mischief in his eyes. And he adored me. I don't know why he adored me. I met him, the first time I met him, I had fallen off my horse and I was lying there scanning my body for broken bones, wondering if I had concussion because I didn't wear a helmet, people. And he came running across the road from his house to check on me because I was just lying there actually, kind of exhausted too. And he worried that I had been terribly injured. So I look up, I see this elderly gentleman looking down at my face, and I was like, am I dead? Are you an angel? And that's how we became friends actually. And then later on, much later on, about 2 years later, I ended up being set up on a blind date with his son. So you can imagine my shock when my husband, or my then boyfriend, finally introduced me to his father, and I was like, I know you, I've met you before. It was kind of destiny. It's amazing. I wrote under the photograph, another copy of the photo above. It must have been Hilda's favourite photo of her husband. Update 2019, his secular yahrzeit, one of my only fathers. He held a deep respect and love for me in the short time we had together. He taught me Hebrew prayers and blessings in his strong Ashkenazi accent. He told me stories of his childhood in Baranovich, Poland, and I adored the sparkle in his eyes when he would reminisce. Also, his mischievous smile. While he was dying in hospital, It fell on my birthday, and he sent his son, my fiancé, out to buy me a bottle of perfume. I cherished that bottle ever after, kept with my perfume bottle collection. His sweetness and thoughtfulness far outshone his son. I think he loved me much more. Indeed, so much more he actually paid off both houses, making sure that wanting me to have financial safety and security and stability. That's how great a man my father-in-law was. His favourite colour was green, and he asked me to put on my wedding dress so he could see me dressed as a bride. When I dressed in it, he looked a tad confused and asked why the dress was not green. Morphine infusions messing with his mind. I told him that I would wear green in the wedding bouquet. I think he knew he would not survive to see the wedding. It was a poignant moment. Here's a photo of both my in-laws when they were young and quite clearly in love. Hilda later told me after he died actually that he hadn't been her first love. She'd had another love, true love partnership back in Poland, but Harry's family arranged the marriage kind of thing, which was a very normal thing to happen in Jewish families, especially in Poland in those days. And so she was brought out to New Zealand when she was only 18 years of age with a chaperone, which was his sister Zelma, I think. Was it Phyllis or Zelma? Anyway, one of his sisters came out with her on the ship. And when they arrived in Wellington Harbour, before disembarking, they had to have like kind of kerosene poured over their head and like deloused. She said it was a really horrible experience. And 18 years of age, coming to a foreign country in 1931, which was just in the nick of time before the Nazis really got going with their, ethnic cleansing of Jews and Roma people and homosexuals and political dissidents, intellectuals that didn't agree with Nazism, and the intellectually handicapped, and everyone else that Hitler didn't like. But both my daughters are alive today because their grandparents came out to New Zealand. I think he came out in 1929 and she was brought out in 1931. So lucky for them, but not so lucky for their family members stuck back in Poland during World War II. They all perished in the Holocaust in the camps. Her half-brother perished in the Polish army. They used to put the Jews in the front lines of the Polish army, and very often they were shot by friendly fire from behind, by the way. It was just fucking awful, but this is why I'm against all war. All war anywhere on the planet should be banned, and any idiots wanting to start tribal fights with each other over land or money or oil or whatever sets it off, the leaders should be put in one room of leaders of both opposing parties or factions, and they should be handed a gun and they should fight it out amongst themselves and leave the innocent people, the populations of their countries, out of it. People who want to create wars and profit by war are the most evil people on earth. Unfortunately, it never stops. It's a big bloody industry too. Death cults and population control, and on we go and on we go. History is repeating again, but in another subversive form, and it's never in history before have our children and infants been poisoned by an unknown substance in the guise of health, by the way. It's the most horrific and unbelievable thing that has ever happened to humanity. I will never be able to wrap my mind around that. Here is a photograph of Harry with a group of friends in the Beitar group, which was a youth group, Jewish youth group. Harry would have been the sole survivor of this group, who most likely all perished during the Holocaust. Harry had migrated to New Zealand, and you can just see the faces of these beautiful young people with so much promise, entire lives ahead of them. All perished. That photo was taken in, oh well, he must have come out after, I must be wrong about him coming out in 1929, because that says 1932, 11th of February. Oh no, perhaps it was an older photo, but he wrote, because it's written in Yiddish, he must have written that note on it in 32. Anyway, look at all those beautiful young women and young men. It's an agony that just won't leave me. It really won't. May 18th, 2018. Last night I made felt out of tufts of sheep wool I had collected and stored after doing a craft job 12 years ago. Man, I am a hoarder. But I saw how you can turn wool into felt, so I'm repurposing the wool before I decide to throw it out. Felting is fun, but this is my first effort, so I need a little practice. Me always trying something creative, trying something new. I feel, yes, still quite splotched on, Charlie. Oh. Yes, little girl. Here I posted it, probably had a photo attached to it, but it's not there anymore. My friend Jared, who worked with me in my business, I was out there like animal, and Jared was much calmer and soothing like Kermit. So I'm referencing the Muppet Show there. I must have had the meme attached to it, but it's been deleted for whatever reason. But yes, I was indeed like animal, half crazy in that shot with exhaustion, working a 12-hour shift when I had young children to look after. It was just too much for me, really. So I'd go into bouts of hypomania. It would get very, very, very creative and very crazy indeed. 18th of May 2017, insomnia. 3 hours sleep, now wide awake and itchy, fidgety and racing thoughts, for fuck's sake. Taking a Valium as I am exhausted. I have clean sheets and the salt block purified my bedroom and lounge. I should be sleeping like a baby. So annoying. I have had bad lower back pain, still coughing, feeling shitful. I've gained 2 kilos as well. So I'm going to bed early and I'm just going to rest. And then later on I wrote, chocolate and glühwein. I will die happy if it kills me. Oh, dear goddess, and here I am, still kicking on. Still kicking on. Hopefully I'll die happy too when I eventually die. Happiness, my friends, happiness generated from within is the best revenge on your enemies. The absolute best. 18th of May 2016. I'm having a happy week in spite of my exhaustion. The days have been calm, sunny and beautiful. The nights are cooler, but the Tanya has the doona. I worked hard in the garden yesterday, rinsing scoria, but so proud of our success. I will top up the other ponds now and clean their filters. 18th of May 2015. Jared and I are now enjoying a cider at the beach hotel, having a lovely time under the heater. I want to play pool. Rocking Byron Bay with Jared. The girls have moved on to Grafton. Here I posted, because I actually had a friend that said he was the grandson of Louis Armstrong. His name was Herb Armstrong, and I used to dance with him at the casino, and yes, it was kind of an in-joke. Me with Louis. It's very funny, very, very funny indeed. Oh well, you can't take life too seriously, people. May 18th, 2014. I'm fighting the urge to go out and being domesticated by cooking up a big pot of chicken soup. I haven't made soup in years. I found this out by the expiry date on the beef stock, which was from 2011. So funny. Luckily, I bought some packets of stock recently. I waste so much money on food I don't cook and throw out. Today I gave the hens some leftover kugel I baked for the first time ever, but didn't like. I used too much butter. Oy vey. I'm looking forward to the soup, however. It's a cold night and I need nurturing. Should probably make soup again, quite frankly. Here I write in response to an article, Buddhist monks bless tea with good intention. Here's what happened. And I responded, I am grateful for all that I have. I am grateful for all that I don't have. For these are dreams and aspirations that keep me in the flow of the universe. I am greatly loved and valued. Even when humans fail me, there is a force of love that is eternal, which provides me with blessings and synchronicities and unconditional love in abundance. Knowing that I am loved heals me and helps me to keep loving others until eventually they can awaken to their own innate love life. 18th of May 2011. I woke up at 12:30 p.m. feeling like crap, pondered how I was going to get through the day, but decided not to stay in bed for the rest of the day. Glad I didn't, because I spent the entire afternoon digging out my compost, distributing it on my passion fruit, grapevine and raspberry, and around the bat plant and other gingers for an extra boost. Then I put Epsom salts diluted in water on the other stuff that needed it for magnesium. Then I flushed out the worm farm, so I had lots of wormweed to distribute around as fertiliser. I also did a few loads of washing, then came inside to have a well-deserved rest. Phew. There is something really wholesome and earthing about shoveling out compost, sifting out the larger twigs, etc., between your hands, and lovingly placing the huge juicy earthworms in the container before spreading on the garden. I feel so much better. Now I'm just tired from the fresh air and exercise instead of just being tired from being tired. And did I mention tired? Laughing out loud. I've had a lovely day. 18th of May 2009. I'd like to know a little bit about you for my file. I'd like to help you learn to know yourself. It's a little secret, just a Robinson's affair. Any way you look at it, you lose. Update 2021. But the pendulum swings both ways. Does it not? Mama T's on the upswing, and oh, I hope and pray it keeps being more and more swinging upwards with my truest, deepest lover man by my side, and may I merit to manifest at long last a beautiful life surrounded by good, kind people who see me and accept me and adore me and value and cherish and respect me, my tribe, my true loving partner, whoever that person, is that enters into my life or was already in my life. And may I merit at long last my happy ever after, people, even though it seems ridiculous. It could happen. It could still happen. And I am not the psychedelic dreamer for nothing, because I've been dreaming and manifesting this outcome for 59 years. It's a long, long time. 18th of May 1984, in memory of Harry Aarons, who passed away on 18th of May 1984 in Wellington, New Zealand, terminal stomach and bowel cancer. So wherever you are, Harry, I love you. Pity about your dead shit son, and your granddaughters aren't dead shits, but kind of both estranged now. So love is the law, people. Hold on to that love. Keep it precious. You never know who might value it one day and return it to you in kind, and let it blossom into a great and powerful and beautiful gift, literally from the gods and from our own hearts and souls and spirits and minds, and maybe even one day a shared union of a bodily sexual kind. But I want it all, people. I want it all. I want a man who loves everything about me, and a true great love that doesn't abuse or use or destroy. Someone that upholds me and uplifts me and keeps me precious, and a man who is ready, willing and able to be in my life in that manner, and who I can also keep precious, because we'll be soulmates, you know, we'll be meant for each other. And wow, it's a psychedelic dreamer's dream. That's one thing I am successful at, dreaming. You have to laugh. Anyway, on that note, thus concludes today's readings of Even Date, and wherever you are in the space-time continuum, and whoever you're with, and whoever you choose from your own heart, mind, body and soul, may you be blessed. May you merit great joy and peace and truest, deepest love and excitement and genuine care and high regard, because that's what I want for myself too. Let's ask for it all, people. Bye for now. Remember, as always, to never ever let the bastards grind us down. Bye for now.